Anthony.
Yes.
You are wearing green, my man.
I am. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah. So, it's these crazy holidays come out. Certain ethnicities get to celebrate their ethnicity, others don't. Why are they Irish?
Well, I love St. Patrick's Day because it's the only day in which everybody gets to be Irish, no matter what you are. So
that's funny. I announced at our last office meeting that we're going to do something today for St. Patrick's Day, and there's so many people walking around with green, and I think it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. It's great. Even you've got your green on.
I do, but you know what? I'm going to say this, okay? I didn't grow up as an Irish guy, okay? I've come from the big city of Chicago where they dye the river green. If you've ever seen photographs of that, it's awesome. But I didn't have that Irish pride until I took Ancestry.com.
There you go.
And I do know now that I've got a significant percentage of my blood that's Scotch-Irish. And so now I feel a little more justified. But you know what? I think that that's wrong to feel that you have to be Irish to wear green, right? Because it's a fun day.
I actually have a fun story about Ireland. I actually got to visit the Supreme Court of Ireland completely on a whim. I was traveling in Dublin with my sister. We were sitting in a pub, just having a beer, unwinding at the end of the day. And I was talking to her, and we met a guy over there, and it turns out he's a barrister. And he was not only that, he was a barrister for the Irish Supreme Court. And he said, why don't you guys come on over tomorrow? I'm going to walk you around the Supreme Court, show you the chambers and everything like that. And I was like, wow, that was really cool. What a chance meeting. But the thing that I gathered from my trip in Dublin was just Irish people are just incredibly friendly. They treat you as if you're absolute family, and especially if you're sitting across from them in a bar. They're some of the friendliest people that you'll ever meet. It was a great experience.
God, that was cool going into the courthouse like
that.
I love doing that. I think that even when you go into courthouses in other states, everyone's a little different, And did you ask a lot of questions when you were there?
Oh yeah, I was like, how many judges are in there? Like, what do you guys wear? What kind of robes do they wear? How is it different? Everything like that. It was great. I was a law school student at the time, so I was still kind of learning about, our judicial system, and it was just being able to compare it to another countries and seeing all the traditions that came down from England and that got passed on to our legal practices today is just really, really cool.
Civilized societies have to have a forum to resolve disputes, and we may not agree with the politics of other countries. Their systems of justice might not be the same as ours, but they still have to get to the root cause of problems and try to deal with them. Recently, we talked about a case where there was a child custody dispute involving a lady who was living in China with her daughter, and the father was in America, and the case wound up in a Chinese court. You know which one I'm talking about.
I do.
And it was interesting to me that judge, although didn't follow the American suggestion, issued an order that sounded a lot like it does over here. Dad's going to get alternate weekends, and then there was an appellate process.
Right.
And I thought, that's cool. And I've seen documentaries in countries in the Middle East where, you don't know if their judicial system is the same, or India. And when it comes down to it, you still got the same people complaining about, not sharing custody and things like that. And there's a judicial officer that's got to resolve it.
Right. And really, part of what's really cool about our office is that we get cases from clients that are completely around the world. You name it. China, Lebanon, England, Russia.
I've got one in Belarus.
Exactly.
I was just Zooming with them.
And part of the dynamic of family law is trying to figure out how do U.S. courts fit into the separation process or the custody process. Like you said, a custody order coming down from China that was written basically the same way that we would write our custody orders here. Just really cool to see the dynamics between the two countries and how cultural aspects play into the way that they split up child time.
Yeah, I agree. In this Belarusian case that I have, the divorce is actually over there. And they do things just a little bit different. They do their bifurcated. They bifurcate the marital status first before they resolve anything, and then they get into the division of property, and that could go on. There's an appellate process and all of that.
Right.
I would just love to go over there and listen to their standards and all that stuff. But I guess that's why we're attorneys, because we like this stuff, right?
We're nerds for that.
Yeah. So Dodger season is finally on us.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Now are one of the really the biggest fans in the office. I mean, there's a couple of other people that might rival you, but I know that you're a wonky guy and you know what's going. Have you been following like?
I enjoy the statistics and the wheeling and dealing behind everything.
Okay, that's why I wanted to bring it up for you.
Yeah.
So what does the team look like coming into this year so far?
It's really exciting. Well, we lose Scherzer as our big arm. I think bullpen probably still needs a little bit of work. But we have some big sluggers coming in. So yesterday we signed Freddie Freeman on a 6-year contract from the Braves. Huge news, made waves all across the MLB. Big slugger, big hitter.
You might replace Seager maybe?
Maybe Seager, I think, is going to go. And then we re-signed a couple other of the guys back. We're going to be keeping some of them. There was some talk about Jock Pederson coming back down, but he ended up going to the Giants.
Don't bring him back. I know that a lot of people liked him, but I
liked him.
He was really good in the series. Like,
yes.
He was a clutch guy.
Yeah.
But during the regular season, man, he was a wiffle guy. Man.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So he'd have his hot and cold streaks, and unfortunately, he was getting hot right around the time he was playing us.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Yeah, did they go all the way to the World Series? Did they win the championship last year? They did, right?
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
That guy, man.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
right?
He goes straight from one championship team to the other.
And then he goes straight to our rival.
Oh my God. Oh, okay. All right. So one of the things I wanted to talk about today is that some really fun things happened with you professionally.
Yes.
First of all, you got your certificate. Actually, you passed the certification
Passed the
exam.
certification. Yep.
You're not certified yet.
Nope.
But you've done everything you need to do. You're just waiting for the paperwork and all of that.
That's right. So it's probably, I would say, a year-long process between studying for the exam, doing the paperwork, filling out the application, listing out all the cases that you've ever worked on. But I got the results last Friday that I had passed the exam, which is arguably probably the most difficult part. So I was really happy about that. We went out and we celebrated.
I saw that on Facebook. Champagne.
We did some champagne. We did some Disneyland. It was a really great weekend. Yeah.
I was surprised that it came back as quickly. It seemed like it came back quickly, but it didn't, because you took the exam in November, I think.
October.
Right? October.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's about the timing, right? I mean, but it does seem like it was just yesterday you took the exam. It just seems like the other people that have gotten certified had to wait longer, but I know that they didn't. So I'm just getting old, I guess. But boom, you got it like that.
Yeah. And I was actually kind of like dreading the day that it came. Actually, when the test results came out, I didn't check it. I had to work up probably maybe 10 hours of nerve, and I ended up checking it around 1 a.m. on Saturday.
How do you check it?
You do it online. So,
okay.
Yeah, they give you your login, and you go in, and it says either pass or fail. And I saw pass, and I was like, that's not right. They must have made some sort of error. And then I looked at the letter that comes attached with it. Congratulations, you were successful on your certification exam. I walked out of that test feeling okay. So this was a weird administration because everybody had to do it remotely. There was no in-person examination. So we were all doing it either from home or from different offices and stuff.
Where'd you do it?
I did it in my living room. I did it in my living room. I set up
Honey, could you turn
there.
on the TV?
And then when it was lunchtime, I went to my kitchen and I microwaved a burrito. So,
you could have had some alcohol in
yeah,
there. Make your writing a little bit more flavorful.
Maybe. But I felt good after the test. I was like, I think I did okay. But the more it's this kind of idea where the more you think about it, and it's like, I could have written this more about this question. I missed that subject, or I missed this topic. And then you kind of train yourself into thinking, there's no way I passed. So by the time the results came out, I was like, I'm just gonna rip off the Band-Aid and accept my my defeat and try to do better next time. And I opened up the examination page and I was like, wow, I can't believe I passed.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I think that I'm trying to put myself in your shoes of taking the test at home.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I took the test, we would have to go to a hotel that was right next to the airport. I forget which one it was, but I think I might have spent the night there. I'm not sure.
Right.
And then you go into a room with a bunch of your peers, and these aren't like young, people trying to pass the bar exam. These are like licensed professionals,
Mm-hmm.
and you're sitting there, and that same feeling that you take the bar, it's there, man. It's like, God, I hate this. I said I would never do this again, and here I am. And you just, just in your brain, you are like cursing the experience, and then it hits, boom, and you're, and you're doing your thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was on a typewriter, or not a typewriter, a computer, I remember
Mm-hmm.
at the time. I'm wondering how in the world can they keep it honest when you're doing it in your living room like that?
So they actually use your webcam to keep an eye on you, and they actually track your eyes to see whether you're looking at your screen or looking off. And if you're looking off or you're doing some weird stuff, you'll get a flag. And they'll review your video to see like, oh, did you suddenly change your answer after that? Or did you look off the screen for a long period of time? Or was there a sound of a cell phone in the background or something like that?
Oh, my God.
So they'll actually go through and they'll review your exam. I don't know if this is the way they're going to start doing the bar exam in the future.
They better not.
I don't think so.
Because I think it could be cheated.
I think that opens up a lot of problems, right? It's just there's too many variables to control when everybody's at home. But
well, look at it this way. Okay, here's the camera looking at me, right? And I'm typing, and David's standing back there with cue cards, right?
Yep.
And
honey, next card.
And every time I need him to turn a page, I just kind of
go. But this time around, so the benefit of this time around was that the examination fee, normally they charge a laptop fee. Well, everybody's got to do it on laptop this time around. So it ended up being only $100 to take the exam. So I thought, well, if anything, it'll just be a pretty cheap practice exam.
Well, that's true. I think that, again, putting myself in your position, taking the test at home, that anxiety that I would feel afterwards, it'd be like, honey, let's go out and get something to eat. Let's get out of here. Like, I got to go to the gym. I mean, I would just be like pent up with anxiety because you're at home. Right, normally
exactly.
if you're at the test center, you could come home for that, but you're there and stuff. So what did you do that night after you?
That night, let's see, I had a glass of wine and I went to bed.
Okay, all right.
I was exhausted. I remember by the end of it, it's a 6-hour exam. I think it's like 10 essay questions.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
Holy
10
cow.
essay questions, short form answers. And I was just kind of like completely drained. I don't think I've ever been that drained even like after a full day of court. Just the mental energy and having to be like at attention like for that long of a period of time, it just sucks everything.
Were there
out of
multiple choice questions?
No multiple choice on the certification exam.
I think there was for mine.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then lots of essays, if I recall.
Actually, you know what? Yes, there was. Oh my gosh, it's been so long. There actually was a multiple choice.
You know what? You just flunked, dude. hey, Proctor's, man. He doesn't even remember this, man.
I put it out of my head.
Yeah,
It's
right.
like, almost like PTSD.
It was your twin brother, man.
Well, I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, how many years later you still remember what the test format was? Here's a question.
I remember that there was multiple choice on it. I don't remember like what the breakdown was, but you said 10 essays. Man, that's a lot. I think there might have been 3 or 4 for me.
I think the most I learned, and we took the prep course, right? We took the CFLS Advanced Family Law course, which goes through all the topics that's on the exam. But I'll tell you, even just by just doing my regular work, working on my cases, I was more prepared for that exam rather than listening to hours and hours of lecture.
That's right. You're right about that.
I draw upon my personal experiences in court and writing memorandums of points and authorities to know what the answer is, not trying to remember what Thomas Trent Lewis said at hour 3 of that lecture. So
yeah, this year I was ghosting you. I took the course as well, and I've only gotten through a few of them because they give you so much, and there's no way in the world that you could sit and listen to all those and then absorb them and go, okay, this is the formula for success. I really do think that you're right, is that you need to have some real practical experience to do that, because they could tell, I think, in your writing.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. 56 hours of lectures that program has. If you want to sit down and try to go through all of it, it'd probably take you about a month.
That's right.
That's right. Straight.
And it's hard. I mean, we used to go over to the center, and you'd spend a weekend and you would listen to it, and I think that there might have been, there weren't any recordings when I did it, but when I saw that packet that they gave you, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm not going to sit here for 8 hours. I might do it at an hour at a time.
Sure.
But even taking the exam, I don't think that you have that time if you're a practicing attorney to do that. So that's interesting. You kind of pick and choose maybe a little bit. Is that what you did? Is the topics you needed some work on?
I picked on the ones that I wasn't as familiar with, like valuation of business property and stuff. Like some of the more technical nuance ones.
Yeah.
I don't think we even got a question on any of those. More. It was very kind of by the book, straightforward custody, visitation, the fundamental stuff that you need to know as a family law attorney that got tested pretty heavily, rather than, tax effects of division of corporate assets,
Okay.
or stocks, just things
You know
like
what?
that.
You know why? Because the examiner doesn't know that stuff.
Because I think the evaluators, or the people that actually review the examinations, are all volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
So they're either certified family law specialists or judges that are
How much time do they have?
probably not a lot,
Right.
right? So if it sounds like you know what you're talking about, my guess is that you could probably do it just by writing in a family law attorney's handwriting, or in their way that they would normally write something.
Yeah.
So.
Do you know of anybody that didn't pass?
I don't. I know 2 other people that did pass. Shout out to Jack and Tin. Congratulations, both of you guys. They both passed, and we were going to try to find a time for all of us to go out and celebrate, I think. Yeah.
That's cool. Well, I could tell you that when you start putting that in your name, and it does feel good. I mean, it feels like it feels like what you deserve, and that is you put in the extra time
Right.
to become the very best in the profession, and it really does help too. I mean,
Right.
I thought that I started thinking differently about the cases and being able to communicate to clients differently based upon the course. So
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
good.
It's funny because the application, when you fill it out, you only need to practice at least 25% of the time in family law. And I'm like, that's really all you need? I mean, like, I feel like in order to be a certified specialist in this area,
Should be full-time.
You should be doing it full time.
Yeah.
You should be doing it full time.
Well, people underestimate the complexity of family law.
Yes.
I tell the story that I was sitting in between 2 judges at a social event, and they both used to be in family court.
Mm-hmm.
And I appeared in front of them both, and I didn't like appearing in front of either one of them. But socially, I loved both of them. They were great people, but I didn't care for being in their courtrooms. Anyways, we got talking, and they were in civil court, and they were talking to each other through me, and they were like, when I got there, I thought this is gonna be simple. It's about kids and family. And
Sure.
and then I realized there's a whole body of law, and I thought, oh my God. And then one of them said that, like judges tend to do, I knew what I wanted to do in this case. I knew what the conclusion should be and what the
Right.
order would be. I just didn't know how to get there. But it was, they acknowledged that it was way more complicated
Yeah.
than what people think,
Right.
and stuff. And so when people tamper with it, the state bar is a little crazy in that regard. I mean,
Absolutely.
they shouldn't allow that.
Absolutely. I mean, I also feel like family law specifically, we probably get the inch deep, mile wide issue more often than others. I think in family law we touch on issues involving contract law, criminal law. I mean, you have a background in criminal law. I have a background in civil. How often do we have to draw on those experiences?
A lot.
Yeah, all
Yeah.
the time, in order to be the best effective advocate. And look, the practical, reality of it is nobody's an expert on every single area of law, right? But it's that willingness to learn,
Yeah.
right? If you're going to assign yourself to be a lifetime student of the law, of different areas that you might not be familiar with, then that's, I think, really the indicator of what makes a good family law
Yeah,
attorney.
I agree.
Yeah, nobody
agree.
ever thinks they know it all.
It's a very intellectual area of law too. Coming from a criminal background,
Mhm.
where it's more presentation and skills,
Mhm.
and stuff. And I loved doing the criminal law stuff when I was a prosecutor. It was really fun. When I came to the family law, I realized that most of my peers were really very intellectual,
Yeah.
and stuff. And they have, they have to be able to perform in court at the same time. So
Right.
to me, it's more challenging, and
Right. It's a completely different set of skills that you rely upon.
Yeah.
Whether you're sitting in your office and writing a brief, or you're in court and you're making your case to a judge.
Right.
Right. You're pulling on so many different types of areas of experience in order to be the best possible representative for your client.
So speaking of your peers,
Mhm.
I understand, I didn't get a chance to see it, but you were on a pretty impressive panel that was with the Los Angeles County Bar Association, and you were playing the part of a disgruntled husband or
Yes.
something. So tell us about that.
So I'm actually a member of the LA County Bar Association's barristers section. Which
You're
is
also
for,
a member of the state
yeah,
bar for barristers as well.
correct. So
Are you part of the Pasadena Bar Association barristers?
I'm not.
Dude, you gotta be, man. There's 2 people in our office that are in charge of that. So okay,
Monty and Steph have a locked on that, but I'm happy to help out wherever I can.
you should be at least be a member of that. For crying out loud. But go ahead.
So with that, I got appointed to be the family law section liaison, which is really great because I get to go to the family law section meetings. I get to hear from Judge Amy Pellman and Shelley Kaufman about the things that are happening in the court.
That's cool.
an opportunity came along with the Sorrel Trail Planning Committee, and they put on a trial institute every single year. And this year, it was virtual. And the Sorrel Trail Trial Institute is basically just kind of one-day full session on different sets of trial skills, different types of strategies to make you really effective when you're presenting your case to a judge. And I got assigned to play a witness in the evidentiary hearing panel with Judge Michael Powell. And we were getting cross-examined by Roxana Velen and a couple other attorneys. And it was just really, really cool because I got to play the other side, a family law litigant who was opposing a move-away request.
So you're probably searching in your index of former clients and go, who do I want to play today?
Yeah. So the inclination is to try to be like a really difficult witness because that's the bread and butter of a good family law attorney. How well can they wrangle a difficult witness? But I just played the role. I just did gave the information. I did my best to kind of portray the emotional toll of this a move away case. The attorneys did a great job. Judge Powell gave a lot of insight into why he was ruling on certain objections. So there was a lot of hearsay.
Oh, that would be good.
Yeah. So you basically would state the ruling, and he'd tell you the reason why. Because you never get to hear the reason why. Mm-hmm. Usually, you just get to hear the result, whether it's sustained
That's
or
fantastic.
overruled. So it's a great program. I mean, I think if possible, we should get all of our attorneys to take it. It just presents so many practical tools on the things that we do pretty much every single day.
You mean to watch the video of it? Or?
Yeah, so it's recorded.
We should do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then if they ever do it in person again, we'll try to get some other attorneys on board to play witnesses as well.
It's interesting when you say that, the cross-examining a difficult witness.
Mm-hmm.
What I teach when I teach cross-examination, because this is counterintuitive, but you want that witness to be difficult.
Yep.
Because what that does is it gives fodder, for the court to really see the veracity of the person. If somebody's just being a perfect witness and they're answering all the questions,
mm-hmm.
even if they're lying, they're answering all the. I shouldn't say this because people out there are going to go, "Oh, that's how I could get over on the court." But I love difficult witnesses. The more pull that they give me, the better it is. But,
You're the one that always says on direct the attention is on the witness, and on cross-examination the attention's on you. Right.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
So did
you find that they were? What were they doing when you were becoming difficult?
So they were trying to lay foundation. They were trying to refresh recollection, and these are all just kind of like standard skills that we deal with every day. They were trying to argue hearsay issues, hearsay objections, stuff that we normally would do, and just find really ways to be persuasive about it. I mean, the theme for this year was how to get the things that you want when you're going into trial. And it's kind of broad, but I mean, really, that's what it is, right? You go into trial.
It's about figuring out how to get it into evidence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Because if it doesn't come in, it's not considered. One common new attorney mistake is that you mark and you show the exhibit, but never make it in. You don't move it in. So that's one of the things that they talked about. Always remember to move your evidence into.
Coming from a DA's background, you mark them for identification throughout the trial.
Mm-hmm.
You don't move them into evidence until right before you arrest.
Right.
And I've been doing that for years in family court. And then I realized that nobody's comfortable with that. The judges aren't or anything like that. So what I've done recently is I start marking them and moving them into evidence as we're going. And I'm actually finding that that's more effective as well, because the other side is kind of like, every time it's in the evidence, they're like, and if you're truly building your case because they've been received and stuff. So it's good practice to do that.
Right, absolutely.
Well, this was fun. It was really, really fun. So I can't wait till we have our first Dodgers night.
It's going to be great. Opening season's coming down. It's a shorter season this year, unfortunately, but I mean, at least we get a season.
So it's shorter, but what I understand is that they have more teams playing in the playoffs this year.
I think so.
Per the contract.
They expanded out the number of teams.
That should be. I like that. What I don't like is that now both the American and the National, they have the designated
hitter.
Come on, man. I mean, it takes a team. You don't get to sit out because you're not good at something,
Right. But I mean, either way, you got to have some consistent rule across the entire league. You can't have two sets of rules.
Well, they get rid of the designated batter then. Anyways, thank you very much.
All right,
see you next time.
Yes. Have a good one.